We're going to go over the last section of the lead generation and marketing module right now. It's number 6, 8x8, and how it relates to the sphere of influence. An 8x8 campaign refers to the frequency of contacts that you're going to make with somebody over a certain period of time. In this case, 8 touches over 8 weeks. And the only person that is going to be entered into an 8x8 campaign is somebody that becomes a new contact of yours. And the way that you can contact them each week over the course of this campaign is varied. You can use text, you can use a phone call, you can send an email, or you can send regular mail. The point of this is to provide information of value and solidify you as the person that they think of whenever they're going to need a real estate agent, whether that's now or way out in the future sometime. Anybody that you consider a lead should be entered into the 8x8 campaign before they go into your full database. For somebody to qualify as an entrant into this campaign, you have to have their full name, their current address, their email, their phone number, and any information as to when they intend to buy or sell real estate. Once you enter them into the 8x8 campaign, they should proceed automatically through each step. And while they're in the 8x8 campaign, if you have to contact them, that's okay too. So for example, you've spoken with a buyer today. They said they want to buy a home and they're ready to look at homes immediately. You would enter them into the 8x8 campaign, but then throughout that 8x8 campaign, you may be calling them to schedule showings or go over certain homes that come up on the radar that they're interested in. That's not a problem. It's also not a problem if you don't need to contact them during the 8x8 campaign. But regardless, if they're entered into the 8x8 campaign, don't stop the 8x8 campaign because you're going to start calling them for certain other things. That doesn't matter. The best 8x8 campaigns will be specialized to either a buyer, a seller, or a general campaign for a new contact. For the new contact, somebody that's not ready to buy or sell, but you had a good conversation with them, again, I recommend that you enter them into a general 8x8 campaign. A general 8x8 campaign is something that's generalized, has general information about both sides of real estate, whether you're a buyer or a seller. And it just helps them get a better idea of how the process works on both sides. And it provides them information that maybe will help them out for where they are now. Let's say, for example, there's a homeowner and he's not looking to sell his home, but maybe they have a lot of home equity. Well, in one of the steps for a general 8x8 campaign, you can include a report or an article on the best ways to use home equity. The next 8x8 campaign would be somebody who's a new contact and they're a buyer. They've expressed to you that they would like to buy either now or in the near future. So they would be categorized as an 8x8 buyer. The third one is a seller. That's somebody that tells you that they would like to sell their home or property either now or in the near future. And you've spoken to them about the different sales options. They would go into the 8x8 campaign specialized for a seller. Now you might ask, well, what about somebody who's going to buy and sell? I would put them into the general 8x8 campaign since that covers both sides. This slide is showing week 1 of a buyer 8x8 campaign. So as you can see, week 1 is an email that has your contact info and an attached flyer giving information about the brokerage Avalon Real Estate Group. Now this slide is showing you essentially the week 1 of that buyer 8x8. Really, you don't want to be sending anything more than just a reiteration of your contact information and the brokers that you work with. In our example of the buyer 8x8 campaign, we move on to week number 2, which is, in this case, we're going to mail a motivational postcard to their current mailing address. A motivational postcard is a postcard that has a famous quote on it or just something positive. For a good example, go to the link that I have on this slide at Amazon, and you can even order those cards to use if you decide that you want to do this for your week number 2. Week 3 in our example buyer 8x8 campaign is an email, and this email is on the top 10 questions we receive about buying and selling homes. You can see we have the subject line there, so you can just use this, copy it and use it for yourself. And then it's talks about attached, we have the most common questions that we receive on buying and selling homes. Again, you're adding value. You're not looking to bother somebody, but you're adding value and information that can help them when they buy. Week 4 is about halfway through. At this point, I recommend making a phone call to confirm that they've received the information that was previously sent and to ask if they have any questions about it. Here's a script that you can use, or you can alter it to your liking. And if you'd like, you can do a text message. If you don't want to do a phone call, you can replace this with a text message. However, I recommend a phone call because it allows you to have a full conversation and allows the relationship to progress towards a sale. So that's what I recommend. Week 5 is another email. This one is on the 7 steps to buying a home in New Jersey. And what we did here is we put a link to a recent blog article breaking the buying process down to 7 steps. Week 6 is another email. This one is on tech tools that can assist buyers in buying a home. Again, this is another link to a blog article that we have on our website. So anybody that works at Avalon Real Estate Group as an agent can use these blog articles for themselves. If they want to send it out to their clients or send emails like this, that's not a problem. You just go to our blog section, which I'll have the link on a later slide. Week 7 of our example 8x8 for a buyer is a direct mail piece, in this case a fridge magnet. If you want to do a direct mail piece, then I would recommend getting a box of custom magnets. So it can either be a magnetic business card or a kitchen measurement conversion list, something that they're going to want to keep on their refrigerator. So it might be better to do something of value, like maybe a kitchen measurement conversion list or something else that they make for the kitchen that they can stick on the refrigerator. And you're going to put this in an envelope and mail it by regular mail to the contact. The last contact in this buyer 8x8 is a phone call on week number 8. And if you're not out showing the buyer homes yet, or you're not in contact with them every week, then you're going to want to follow the example script. However, if you're already in contact with the buyer every week, at this point, you may not need to do this, or this may just be one of your calls to go over a certain home or property that you're looking at with them. Once your contact or lead is done with the 8x8 campaign, they should automatically be added to the Sphere of Influence marketing campaign. Once they're in the Sphere of Influence marketing campaign, they're going to remain there, and that campaign repeats every year. Not necessarily the same materials in the campaign, but the campaign and the schedule itself will repeat every year. And if you don't know about the Sphere of Influence marketing campaign, that's what we covered in one of the previous lessons, which you should have went over before getting to this one. So what do you do from here on out? Well, I recommend you think about the 8x8 campaigns that you want to implement. Use the 8x8 campaign in this presentation as a guide to set up your own. You can also just use that one. If you'd like, you can copy it and use it for any buyer leads that you get. Or you can make changes. You might decide that, well, you don't want to do a phone call in the 4th week. You want to send a text message, so on and so forth. You can change it up. And again, you can use any blog post from our website for material if you need it. Here's a link to the blog. And once the prospect finishes the 8x8 campaign, they should be added to the Sphere of Influence marketing campaign. For any questions, contact me, call me, email me, text me, whatever you need to do. I'll be happy to go over any questions or concerns or anything that you didn't understand. Thank you.